which form of marriage is going to give you the best outcomes to mitigate disaster. It's very clear that since Orthodox marriage, 9% divorce, Catholic marriage is, I've seen it as low as 18%, depending on the Pew study, as high as 21 or 23%. It's still your best bet out of all of them. And if you agree, and Coach Dipsh did, that marriage has all sorts of benefits for men and you want to engage in those benefits, then don't you want to go for the thing that mitigates the most amount of risk? Answer, yes. Simple. His audience, and I'm just going to point this out to all of you who might be here right now, who are Coach Dipsh's audience. That guy is one of the dumbest fucking people that I have ever sat across from and debated, bar none. And I have no expectation that anybody who's following him is any different.
Damn. I did a debate analysis commentary video a couple of days ago, and this was of the Digital Social Hour podcast that hosted the two men that we're going to speak about here today, one being Coach Greg Adams and the other being Andrew Wilson. Now, their debate was, is marriage worth it? Coach Greg Adams is on the side of no, it is not worth it, whereas Andrew Wilson is on the side of yes, it is worth it. The debate itself was about 2 hours in length. We only went over about 20 or so minutes of it. I'll leave a link to this video down in the description box down below. It was a very popular video, and I think that you guys really appreciated the breakdown of their two different arguments, albeit diametrically opposed arguments. Nevertheless, I have not seen much of a response from Coach Greg Adams in terms of how he felt that he fared during the debate, but I have seen a response a couple of minutes ago of Andrew Wilson, and Andrew Wilson is absolutely popping off, and he apparently is very angry at the totality of the debate and specifically Coach Greg Adams' intelligence during the debate. So I want to go over his comments and continue to break this down without further ado.
The super chats basically focus on one thing. They want to talk shit about you and CGA. So here's it. Question for Andrew. Big reason why the red pill doesn't give prescriptions is because we would feel morally responsible. And then this is continued. Is the church willing to take responsibility for the men who fail 10% of the time? Things like help him get a new wife financially, etc. If the church had a MOA, like Mike's MOA, to help, most dudes would marry.
Yeah, this question is so easily answered. Yes, of course. Men find solace in the church and the community of the church, and they help them through all sorts of moral crisis and financial crisis. Why is this news to you, chatter? Are you fucking stupid? This has been ongoing from the community of the church since the dawn of time. The entirety of the church is designed to assist you through crisis. What are you talking about?
I got another one here.
Will they take responsibility? They're the only ones who take responsibility. You know what red pillars don't do? They don't take responsibility for the mass promiscuity that they promote, like Coach CG Dumbass, who put out a tweet saying, go ahead and fuck hookers. How's that kind of degeneracy going to help us win the culture war here? How's that kind of degeneracy going to bring down the same single moms he says not to marry? How's that going to help that? It's not. How's it going to help with male STDs? It's not. How's it going to help men not commit suicide? It's not going to do any of those things. The guy is fucking stupid. And you people who talk like, it's like you can't follow a debate.
Oh, but they got you on this one. Are non-state recognized unions subject to the family court? Does palimony exist? If the answers to any of these questions is yes, then Andrew was factually wrong when debating CGA.
No, not only was I not factually wrong, I pointed out that there was only certain states where that was correct. It was pulled up in fact check, and I was right. Because I'm always right.
Andrew made an absolute claim that non-state recognized unions can't end up in family court, aka divorce court. Also, he has a marriage contract himself.
Yes, but so do you think, like, for instance, out of all the men who are in here, I probably have the most robust belly. But do you think that if I point out that another guy is fat, that means because I also am fat, that I can't point that out? It doesn't matter if I have a marriage contract. I can still point out flaws in marriage contracts. It has no bearing whatsoever on an argument.
Yeah.
You, chatter, are fucking stupid. And much like Coach Dipshit can't follow a coherent argument. Just follow the argument. That's all I ask. The argument was simple. The argument that I was making is if you're inclined to get married, right? Remember the topic is marriage in the West, not divorce in the West. If you're inclined to be married, which form of marriage is going to give you the best outcomes to mitigate disaster? It's very clear that since Orthodox marriage, 9% divorce, Catholic marriage is I've seen it as low as 18%, depending on the Pew study, as high as 21 or 23%. It's still your best bet out of all of them. And if you agree, and the coach dipshit did, that marriage has all sorts of benefits for men, and you want to engage in those benefits, then don't you want to go for the thing that mitigates the most amount of risk? Answer, yes. Simple. His audience, and I'm just going to point this out to all of you who might be here right now, who are Coach Dipshit's audience. That guy is one of the dumbest fucking people that I have ever sat across from and debated, bar none. And I have no expectation that anybody who's following him is any different.
Damn.
Just want to point that out.
Boom.
Boom. Let's back this up for a quick second because Andrew Wilson said a lot right there. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now. I really think that the overall issue with the debate, as I re-listened to some of the talking points, is that they were arguing different things. Andrew was arguing from the idea of, is marriage worth it? And at a macroeconomical level, it is, as it can solve some of the issues that he outlined in the initial debate. And if you are to choose to get married, don't do it if you're just a secularist, right? Like if you don't believe in God, that makes no sense if you're just doing it in order to get married from the state. And if you do it in order to lower your risk, either she's Orthodox or she's Catholic, because those show the lowest divorce rates. Whereas CGA is saying is like, listen, as a man, why would you introduce yourself to any risk whatsoever? No, it's not worth it. No, we can't change or move the needle. No, it's not going to get better for men. The ship is already sinking, so bump marriage. How about I just maximize my roster, and then maybe on occasion I might pay for a or two. I don't think that CGA is stupid. I just don't think that he cares about the larger picture, and he has more of a defeatist mindset because of that. So he's more focused on self-preservation. And some people will conclude that, hey, that's just a selfish way of thinking. And I don't think he would disagree with you, but he would probably also put into that, well, it's selfish dependent upon the things that I can change. Control the controllables, right? If I can change my loved one's life, my family member's life, I'm going to do everything in my power to put myself in a position to be able to do that. All this other shit, there are billionaires up at top that are like puppet masters controlling the shit, and you only got like 20 or so years left on this planet. So why the hell, well, depending upon your age, right? And God willing, right? But so why the hell would you waste your bated breath in trying to change this matrix or the system that is set out to be against you? Andrew thinks that there is a solution to all of this malarkey. If you don't agree with him, then you might call it a hope strategy, whereas CGA scoffs at this mindset and focuses on solving what he thinks that he can. But the question that I want to open up to my audience, and I want to see you guys' comments down in the comment section, is that if all of the men followed Andrew's prescription versus all of the men followed CGA's prescription, what would be the better society? Which one would be the better? Would society begin to crumble if you followed CGA's prescription? Or is it that if we all individually cared about ourselves individually, over time, would it get better in the long haul? I absolutely have my thoughts about it, but I want to hear what you guys think. By the way, CGA did write this in the comment section of the video that I commentated over, and let's go over this just to add a little bit more of his insights into it. He says, people want solutions to problems I did not create. Save yourself. Traditional marriage is not coming back. It was never meant to be glorified. The debate was not about solving the issue. The original title was, is marriage good for men? Okay, that's slightly different than is marriage worth it? It wasn't how to fix marriage in America. I was never on the show to solve your goofy issues. You solve it. Free agent. What does it say? Free agent lifestyle for life. I appreciate him commenting on this because it gives us more insight into the way that he thinks about this, right? So based off of the arguments that we heard in the video, do you guys think that he proved his point? Is marriage good for men? Also, too, Andrew Wilson is talking extremely spicy in this video with his boys. The thing is that I didn't see the entire debate, so I don't know whether or not, like, it got even more disrespectful towards each other. From the portion that I did see, they was definitely, throwing some things at each other. It seems like CGA was doing it a lot more. But I do think that the name calling that he's doing after the stream it's not valuable. And it's a damn shame too, because if there wasn't a degree of bad blood here, I'd love to be able to see more of them be able to go in. Because at the end of the day, the difference of ideas of intelligent people benefits the audience watching. Now, in this next section, Andrew Wilson clarifies some of his points around the type of men that should get married, and he addresses secularists as well as agnostic people, which I believe Coach Greg Adams is. So let's watch.
The idea is, well, that's some possible future. It's like, no, that's right now. Right this second, the Orthodox and Catholic churches are keeping families together by doing this, by having the social ecclesiastical authority to help govern people's marriages. And they do a good job. And the thing is if the women are involved heavily in the church, that becomes part of their social circle. And you know, as well as I do, that most women are the sum of their social circle, just like men are. And divorce as a social contagion, right? And leaving your man, social contagion often. If you're around a woman who's divorced, what happens? She starts telling the other women,
absolutely,
get divorced.
It's literally cancer.
It's cancer. Yeah, it's a social contagion. So the churches right this second, the traditional churches are assisting men with this. And if it's the case that you want to get married right now, there's nothing valuable about secular marriage. It's totally garbage. It's always been trash. And it was always going to lead to this. Marriage to me only is religious.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, so if that's the case, we're talking about marriage, that it's a religious institution. The religious institutions ought to be what's governing it. And when they do, man, the outcomes are better. Now, how does that affect secularists? The idea here, Andrew, okay, what about all the secularists? Well, secularists shouldn't get married. What is the value of getting married if you're a secular? It's a religious institution. What are you even doing getting married? It's worthless to most of them, and that will put them in a terrible position.
And that's why gays
but let me ask you, if you had to get married right now today, right this second, and it was blind, you just had it, and all you knew was this, that you could pick between a secular woman, a Catholic woman, or an Orthodox woman. Those were your three choices, okay? And you were going to be stuck with them forever, right? And you didn't want them to cheat. What would you pick?
Who's the hottest?
For a long-term marriage, I'd go with or the more religious woman, the Orthodox.
The Orthodox or the Catholic, of course, right? So then the idea, so what we've just established is very simple then. The idea is if you're going to get married right now and you want a prescription right now, Myron just told you that the only prescription is going to be that you're married to a woman who's heavily religious in a heavily religious institution, and you are too, or don't do it. And that was what the debate with CGA was. And what he didn't understand because he couldn't shut the fuck up long enough to hear what the argument was.
This is why I love hearing debates of people who have challenged the status quo in thought, especially if they take a look at the results within people's life and shit. I go over all the time family court cases, and we see these men get their shirts taken. But there's going to be some things that are inherently way more risky than others. If you're a marriage-minded man and don't consider the potential outcome of divorce, right? Because you sign your name on any dotted line, you should always consider the exit plan or the exit strategy, right? Going in there without prenup, what have you. But if you take a look at those numbers of secularists versus those of the religions that they call out, right, are Orthodox, Catholic, right? If you don't have a proper risk assessment of these things and you just going into these relationships in love with rose-colored glasses, then you can end up on the wrong side of the family court system. Previous to content on the internet like this, it's been taboo to even consider that, oh shit, I am getting married to the government as well, right? Oh shit, it is a marriage contract that. And we can all see those negative consequences when looking at the inadequacies within the family court system. But again, this is why I think it'd be great to see minds like this debating and not at odds with each other. The last thing I wanted to go over is actually drop the community chat post of who you guys thought fared better in the conversation between them. And the results showed about 80% thought that Andrew Wilson won. Let's go through some of these top comments. D Strong says this wasn't a real debate and there was really nothing gained here. But based on the debate was supposed to be about, it was over in the first 5 minutes because they both agreed that marriage is good and divorce is bad. Yeah, it seems like they agreed on most things. But again, when you get that platform versus platform, right, they start nibbing and jabbing at each other. Then, you know, the conversation can go a bunch of other places. They started arguing other stuff that wasn't the original premise. CJ didn't provide enough counter arguments to what Andrew stated. He was just dismissive and called everything Andrew said make believe. It looks like CJ started arguing against religion at a certain point and not against marriage. He was also arguing against divorce more than marriage. Andrew was dismissive as well and mischaracterized CJ's position several times. Andrew had a better debate performance, no surprise, and so by default he wins. I think CGA loses by disqualification. Kenneth follows up. I really do support Coach more than Andrew, but it is what it is. Andrew won the debate. Greg lost badly. He even started to use the black woman's defense. You can't tell me anything because you are white. My man here put that shit in quotes. I don't think that he actually said that. What he said was something cheeky to the extent of, oh, we're going to get the answer to the black community's problems from Andrew Wilson, right? He didn't say it explicitly. He didn't say it explicitly, but I can understand how it could be inferred. All right. But don't you put quotes on something that he didn't say. Andrew, but it wasn't even close. Whomever thought CGA lost wasn't being objective. The near amount of times Andrew went personal, attack dog, was staggering and way out of character. Here's the thing. I think in the assessment of who won versus, right, like we all have to come in the understanding and the logical flowing of what was the original debate topic. But I think due to the moderator being way more relaxed, they went in a bunch of different ways and the debate wasn't held like a traditional debate. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, you know, right, you don't want to see bright minds like this at odds with each other, you know, especially when they all have so much, you know, in the realm of information to contribute. Because again, and I said this previously, is that the audience wins. Within the content, within the space, everybody is providing information to men to help them think smarter, more intelligently about information in real life as it is presented to them. So I can only hope that maybe they're doing this a little bit for content and that there's no actual bad blood between them and they saucing it up for a part 2. Because a debate part 2, I think would be tremendous. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment box down below. I appreciate you guys for joining me here today and I'll see you soon. Until next time. Peace!
So, without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.